Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as I assert my authority, I think. Because right now, we have -3, because we have a t-shirt from the men of Helmdal, or Helmdal, or pronounced in the things. Let's put this one on, and I have a... It was a green -1 there. Let me actually... put that over there just so I know I unequipped it. And I have a -1 from our Flip Up Glasses, quote, auditor. How dare you? How dare you say that's not good? Electrochemistry minus logic. Let's go with that. That's definitely good. So, do we have any... Oh, Esprit de Corps. That could be a thing. Do I want it instead of our endurance? Yeah. Our gloves. Do I want... Oh, these are interfacing gloves, aren't they? Yes, they are. But that's probably better. Our pants... Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have... Oh no, look at that. I actually look at... I don't look half bad. Wait. This blazer is completely superseded by our RCM patrol cloak. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. That means this stuff doesn't matter. Oh, that's pretty important. That's pretty important. Okay, well, yeah. So we're not gonna worry about that right now, because we have a check to do while we talk to Hardy.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Titus does not look particularly happy to see you. 3% chance to do it. It's better than before. It isn't. It's still bad. I'm gonna establish my authority and possibly die.
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind.
Well, there's a lot of options here. That's it? That's all I've got? Let's go through that. First, you tell me someone's been raped, and then you don't say who. That's bullshit. That's one option. I'm the only thing keeping this town from going to hell, and you're not helping. And that's another option. I can ask for Kim, and that's all I've got.
Did you already try the gun thing? I hear the gun thing is excellent, and has great results. You're probably right. The others are only there for filler, to make the gun thing pop.
Oh no. We're gonna need to do the gun thing. Hopefully not. Hopefully Kim doesn't give it to me, because yeah. Let's go with the first one, then. I'm gonna stomp my feet as well.
Stop shitting your pants. You don't need to know, all right? We took care of it.
He repeats.
The law handled it, all right?
Yeah. Aren't you listening? It's done. Finito.
You're not the law. I'm the law.
For God's sake, stop shouting!
The man behind the counter shouts.
Stop breaking things in my establishment! Stop provoking those oafs!
Sounds like someone's damn broke.
They're not going to give you anything, can't you see? I can't have a police interrogation in here. People are trying to eat.
This doesn't concern you, cafeteria manager.
Of course it concerns me if you make this kind of...
Easy, babes. What is this?
Titus spreads his arms, smiling gently.
I can't have a slap fight in my bar. It's embarrassing.
We are deep, deep in Far's territory.
The lieutenant whispers to you, taking a step closer to the door.
We need to cool off and re-engage later.
Everyone can see you picked some wrong options. Next time you have to come up with better things to say.
You don't say authority. You don't freaking say. Wow. Oh my god. Yeah, that was authority at the end. Okay, I'll see you all later. I suppose I could talk to you. A little.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time?
She crosses her arms. Maybe later. Maybe later. I do need to go outside and count things. I also need to find some smokes. Because I have now all the health. Also some speed. I forgot about that. Let's find out if we can find some speed. Kuno might help. There she is. She was up there before, wasn't she? I think we saw her before. We might want to talk to her. I wonder if I can. Hey, Kuno. Still having fun here?
Fuck does Kuno care?
The boy turns to you. He doesn't care. Hey, Kuno, got any speed?
Fucking right, pig. Kuno's filling bathtubs with that shit. Kuno's a kingpin.
Can I have some? Just a little?
Fuck no, pig. Kuno ain't dealing to the popo. Not doing the pork pen for your sad speed habit. You don't know Kuno.
He's not worried about prison. He just wants to antagonize you. He's got to at least know a source. Look at him. You need to figure this out somehow. You need to befriend him first.
That was our suggestion, saying. Well, I still haven't figured out what's going on with this kid. I may bring my empathy up a little, but I'm off.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
I know he doesn't. Anyway, let's see what we have over here in the footprints.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here.
And we have +1 because we counted the Hardy Boys, +1 because the Hardys said they hanged the victim, +1 because Viscal said go do it, and +1 because her prints near Video Revachol. I don't know what that means. It is a visual calculus check, though, so I will see if I can upgrade that in any way possible. So right now we have some pretty decent shades that will increase our visual calculus. They're not science fiction. It's just it's fine. Let's do it. Click over here. Click on the thing. I can do it. Let's get an exact count.
8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. Where else have we seen a gang of men in work boots? That's right. The Hardy Boys in the mess hall of Welling in Rags.
8 pairs of boots. Let's go over them one by one.
1. Standard work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 46. Just like Titus was wearing in his booth. This is the big dick. Titus Hardy. The one with the ball cap on his head.
Interesting.
Is it? They didn't even bother to change boots. Putting them on the scene is easy. Maybe even too easy.
Let's continue counting.
2. Standard work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 44. Either the blonde muscular guy, Glenn, or the young guy with a plectrum around his neck. 3. Hobnailed work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 43. The inked banger, perhaps. 4. Standard work boot. Number 45 or 46. Theo, the old smoker. You think you even see a tiny fleck of cigarette ash inside the print.
What else?
5. Another standard work boot. Reinforced toes. Number 44. Same as before. Either the musician, Eugene, or the muscle-bound blonde, Glenn. 6. Light as air. Same make of boot, but number 41. Small like a rat. Shanky.
I should have gotten this earlier.
Better late than never, detective. The whole world is dark and the tracks burn in it with strange beauty.
Count the rest.
7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot. Number 46. The imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. Fat Angus. Carrying something?
Yeah, carrying himself, maybe. 200 kilograms. I don't know that he looked that big, but 150, easy, I would say. And the last one?
8. Another standard work boot. Number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole. The right sole is smoother, more worn. Curious. A missing 8th Hardy Boy.
Yep, we've seen this before. I think. We have clues about this, I should say.
7 sets of tracks, right?
The lieutenant has been tracking your eyes' movements.
The Hardy Boys were here.
8, actually.
That's all? Interesting. Then one of them seems to be missing. Anything else out of the ordinary?
Yeah, light step, number 41 shoe.
I'm guessing that's the skinny Hardy Boy. The one with his front teeth missing.
You mean the rat-faced one?
Yes, well,
The lieutenant thinks for a moment.
he did look a bit like a rat, you're right. Do you think those prints belong to him?
Yeah,
I could still be wrong, but I'm probably not.
probably not. A heavy one as well, 200 kilogram imprint.
200.
He thinks for a moment.
This could be the combined weight of two people, one carrying the other who's tied up. Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built armored man. Maybe it was a fat hardy boy, the one sitting in the middle.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
It could have been an extremely obese person.
The fat guy from the mess hall isn't that obese. He's more like a farm boy. Definitely not 250 kilograms on his own. You have to admit, he's the best fit we've got.
You're shifting the goalposts here. Come on. You said 200, not 250? You're right. The fat guy from the booth was carrying the victim. Also, that fits with Hardy being all... He's all muscle and stuff. And he probably is. I mean, he's a worker. So, even though he's obese, there probably isn't just fat in there. There's probably a lot of muscle as well. Because, you know, he has to work in the... What are they? You know, with a cargo and stuff.
Possibly, yes.
The lieutenant marks something down in his notebook. Also an aberration, and I'm going to point, as I did before. One soul is smoother than the other.
Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the missing Hardy boy. Wonder who he is.
Oh, this one's easy. Way too easy. It's a driver.
It is. And something that doesn't make any sense. Absolutely. And I didn't ramble at all about it before because I knew I wasn't going to be able to explain it in a proper way without really spoiling the things I know. But yeah, a driver would wear down their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. And remember that abandoned lorry cabin we found? This is the line that I'm going to tell Kim. However, this doesn't actually make any sense from a realistic perspective. First off, no, a driver wouldn't wear their right sole first. Because, well, many reasons. First off, the right pedal, which is the accelerator pedal in this world, and in reality, many cars, most cars, the vast majority of cars have the accelerator pedal on the right. The old school cars didn't used to be like that. I think the first car to have that set up is from... Actually, well, the first... It comes from the 1950s and 1960s. There were cars before that date that had a similar pedal configuration to what modern cars have, but it's basically from 1950s and 1960s, which means that if this world is in any way based on the technology anyway, based on pre-1950s, which it kind of looks like it a little. I mean, there's aerostatic aircrafts, and which is, you know, Zeppelins, and there's and the cars look like the way they do. And they don't have that much power. But either way, that doesn't matter. The accelerated pedal is on the right. That's fine. It's fiction. You don't want to make things too weird, so otherwise people can't get anything. Can't intuit anything. Now, the important thing is, you would wear your left foot first because of the clutch. Unless, of course, you're driving an automatic gearbox car, which is possible, especially on trucks. But, well, it's not... Either way, you're not. The reason is the clutch would be the one to wear out first, and anybody that, well, not anybody, I would say it's probably easy for you to, if you know how to drive, you probably remember when you started to know how to drive, and you remember which leg had trouble with the effort, because it's a certain kind of effort that you might not be used to. And obviously, you might not have had trouble. I remember only having trouble the one time, and then after that, my muscles were already accustomed to the whole driving thing. But the left leg is the one that's going to have the most trouble. First off, because you're rowing through the gears. So you're going first, second, third gear, and going up and down and all that. So you're always using the clutch pedal through the full length of the throw as well. It's not even like the accelerator pedal, you're just sort of touching. It's a lot lighter of a pedal. It's built differently for technical reasons as well, but because of the way the pedal box works. And it doesn't matter why it's built differently, but it is built differently. It is a lot lighter of a pedal, so you can just push it easily. But the clutch pedal, even if it is assisted by a servo, which a lot of modern day cars are, but old school cars didn't used to be. So the clutch pedal would be heavy because you're actually moving the clutch inside the clutch pack, and it's a big thing. So you're actually doing mechanical work with your leg, and then you're pushing it to the bottom, and then need to bring it all back up. And if you're in a truck, you might actually have to do double clutching, which is you need to bring the gearbox up to speed with a new gear, which it wouldn't be impossible in a world like this for them to have to do double clutching. Although there's things that it's only crappy trucks back in the old days. Only crappy trucks had to do that, but many trucks had to do that. Many truck drivers know exactly what I'm talking about. I've never driven a truck myself, but I'm into this sort of stuff, so I know what I'm talking about. But the point is, double clutching, what it means is basically you have your first gear, your foot on the accelerator, there's the brake pedal over here, and there's the clutch pedal over here, right? Your foot on the accelerator, and then you want to go to second gear. You take your foot off of the second accelerator, you put your left foot on the clutch, and then you change the gear. Or over here if you're on a right-hand drive sort of vehicle. But you change it on a truck, and it does all the not cool noises that trucks make, because it's all... I don't actually know why it is that they do that, but it makes the cool noise. You know, the one that I'm talking about, right? You've heard a truck do the sounds that I don't know what it is. Actually, I have known what it is, but I forget now at the moment. But anyway, you press the clutch, you change the gear, but instead of changing it to the second gear, you actually change it into neutral. You remove the foot from the clutch, and then you press the clutch again, and then you bring it into second gear, and then you remove your foot from the clutch, and then you proceed to accelerate. This is what's called double clutching, and it is done in cars as well, not just trucks. Old cars, you might have had to do that, which is very uncommon. And the reason why this is required is because of the technical. It's technicality inside of the gear of the gearbox and in the clutch, but it's just a way to for you not to grind your gears, and just a lot easier on the hardware. But the point is, it just goes to show that the foot that works the most is the left foot. Secondly, and this is also very important, we have seen in this lorry cabin situation, we have seen that I bumped my microphone there. We have seen that she put a what was it? It was she glued sandpaper onto the pedal. And this doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense because sandpaper is actually designed to glide over things, not to adhere to things. And I realize the misconception, but that the writers had, and it's kind of a funny idea, but it's a very easy to disprove idea, because all you have to do is step on some sandpaper and see how easy it is for your boot to glide over it. In comparison to stepping over any piece of metal for your boot to glide over it. Usually it has to do with the way the two materials of the sole and the metal work together, and rubber and metal are very famous for just they create a lot of attrition and friction. So sandpaper is terrible because there's less surface contact surface. Basically you need to imagine that the pedal would be, or the sole of the shoe would be smooth, and then the pedal wouldn't be smooth as well. Now, normally, you'd think that these two smooth surfaces would glide past each other, and if they are made of the same material, well, not all materials, but if they were made of metal or made of leather, they would indeed most likely glide past each other. But what happens is that even if you have a leather shoe, instead of having a rubber shoe, it's that the metal itself is so the way the microscopic smoothness of the metal it digs into the leather and the fibers and all the things that exist in both rubber and leather, and so what happens is that it will grip. The sandpaper is worse for that, and the reason why it's worse is because the micro grains in the sandpaper, not only are because they are all bumpy, they create less of a surface of contact surface, which means there's less friction. That's a very important aspect in this calculation. It's the contact surface. If you have a very thin razor, it's easy to glide, but if you have a big chunk of wood, then it's less easy to glide because of the contact. But the sandpaper has very little contact surface because it's all bumpy. Not even macroscopically, just you can look at it and you see that it is bumpy. And so it doesn't make any sense that it would do that. What you would do is you would put maybe razors, or maybe those it's not Tic Tacs. What are they called? those pins that you put on the whiteboards, and no, actually not whiteboards, on cork boards. The pins that you put on cork boards, do you know what I'm talking about? Like in school and whatever, you can have cork boards when you're old, or it doesn't matter. Just cork boards, people use that. I don't have any, but the point is, yeah, those little pins, you could put them, you could maybe glue them to the pedal. I would say it is a little bit kind of dangerous to do that, especially on the accelerator. There's no reason why you would do that to the accelerator at all, because the accelerator is the kind of pedal that you don't need in an emergency. You would do that to the brake pedal. And the reason why you wouldn't do that on the accelerator is because I think it would be easy for you to, if you're not used to that being there, you would put your accelerator down and accelerate, and then you would want to come off of the accelerator, and the foot would be stuck a little to the pedal, which would potentially be dangerous. So you don't want to do that. But I'm sure you could, grow accustomed to how it works for sure. But don't do that. Your accelerator needs to be as smooth and as easy to slide off of as possible. And there's driving techniques that require you to drop the accelerator. Well, I say drop, but drop off of the accelerator, like accelerating full speed down, and actually. Well, not full speed, but this is used more in like agriculture than in cars. So it's not driving techniques, but it is an engine management technique where you would step on the accelerator, and instead of judging the depth of the accelerator based on on how, like, imagine the tractor. This is the floor of the tractor, right? And the accelerator pedal usually comes off of as a thing off of the floor. And there's a lot of cars that do that as well. But I'm talking about like old school tractors. Basically what you do, and this is to rev the engine to a certain RPM. Like, for example, when you're operating machinery in the back, the RPM of the engine. Modern trucks are different, or more modern tractors are different, but old school trucks, at least, the way you would do, like, rotate the little crankshaft that exists that would connect to the whatever you have connected to your tractor, you accelerate more and the crankshaft rotates more. And this is for grain management, grain, like treating grain and parsing vegetation and all the stuff that tractors do, agricultural tractors do. Then you would want, especially when you're working at a slower speed, or stopped, I should say, especially when you're stopped and working just the machine, you would want a certain kind of RPM. And a lot of old school tractors would have little cranks that you would be able to lock the accelerator to whatever. Like, you would basically accelerate up to a point, and there's this little lever that prevents the accelerator from coming back up, and that's what it's. There's some trucks that do that. My grandfather's truck had that. It was always fascinated me, and that's why I know why it does that. But one of the techniques that he used would be to actually. Instead of you'd imagine this is your foot over here, and this is your leg, right? This leg continues going over there, and this is our foot, and then there's the accelerator, and you just step on it, right? And you could floor it, and you know that's where the term flooring it comes from. It's just you make it part of the floor because you step on it down to the floor. But you could floor it and it'd be maxed out. But then if you want to base like half of your engine power, or which isn't half of the pedal, but it doesn't matter. Let's imagine you want just have, like, instead of having 100% throttle, you'd want 50%. Obviously, you can gauge your foot angle, but it's very difficult because not only are you working off of more muscle memory than anything else, you actually can't see when you look at your foot. You can't see your foot move too much because you're just actually, you're looking from up here, your foot is just going down. You can't see what your angle is. You'd be able to see if you're sideways like we are in this schematic, this imagined schematic in this video game that I can draw on screen. Anyway, the point is, what you would do is you'd actually, instead of having, like, imagine we're sitting down over here. Imagine this is our head seeing from above, and this is our shoulders over here, right? And then the pedal is over here, and our foot and like our leg would come out this way. We're looking from above, right? I'm just like head over here, and then shoulders, and your foot over here. The foot normally would be just facing forward towards the front of the tractor. This would be facing forward. So what you would do is you would actually floor the pedal, but on a slanted way. And because of the way your foot shape is shaped around the pedal, you would actually be able to tell, based on experience, well, my grandfather would do this. He would just be able to slide his foot into a certain angle that he would know exactly what the RPMs were supposed to do. And that happens because the freaking accelerator pedal is slippery as hell. And it's actually, if you, in that particular tractor, if you look at the pedal, it actually has actually in English it's pronounced longitudinal. So it would have longitudinal grooves in the pedal. that would make it harder for the accelerator pedal to, or for the accelerator foot to slide to the left and right of the pedal, but not front and back. And the reason is because of the way we accelerated, that we actually, in tractors and in cars as well, that's my technique as well, I slide my foot over the accelerator to press it down. So basically, the contact point when I'm at low throttle, the contact point on my foot is actually a different contact point than the one when I'm at full throttle, because the pedal just goes in a way and my foot just slides back. Which, yeah, if I glued sandpaper to my accelerator pedal, I would indeed smooth out my thing. But anyway, that's a ramble. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I restrained myself from before. But this sort of knowledge is important. Mostly, I mean, it's fine for the game. They just didn't think too hard about this particular detail. It's a goofy detail. I like that it's goofy, but it's very much not how it works. So, anyway.
With a piece of sandpaper glued to the throttle.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses as his eyes light up with excitement.
Which means that the missing lady driver was also present at the lynching? That's it. She's the odd soul.
She's also the one running the drug trade. Interesting.
Now we know who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
I think the entire Union is involved. Maybe even all of Martinez. I'm gonna look around suspiciously.
We should start with Titus Hardy. See what he's got to say on the matter. This might throw them off. Work in our advantage.
He writes something down in his little notebook.
So what else?
How old do you think these tracks are?
A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
How do you know?
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do you think happened here?
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.
So far, so good. Only one thing missing.
He looks at the tracks, face lighting up from the realization.
Of course, there were 8 tracks, but there are only 7 Hardy boys.
I'm gonna let him have his moment of joy.
There's one pair missing from the Union box. The 8th pair. I'm going to say it was our odd soul.
So the odd soul was present at the lynching, but isn't in the mess hall right now.
Yes.
He corrects his glasses.
I doubt the Hardys are going to tell us much, but we should still confront them about the possible drug trade connection.
We've been through all of it. And we have also been through all of the episode, because we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.